along. No business plan should be static, and no business plan should be at any given time, like as at moment, because remember, economies change, buyers' behavioral tastes change, situations change. A couple years ago, we weren't thinking about a war between Russia and Ukraine. We weren't thinking about COVID. We weren't thinking about monkeypox. But that happened, and it changed the way how businesses operate. It changed behavioral tastes and patterns of customers. Before, when we spoke about courier service, we're talking about just documentations and stuff like that. Now we're talking about every business, every customer now have accepted.
Go run. Go run this if you go to bed. Go.
Could we have the mics?
Hello.
We have the mics closed.
Let me mute everybody, sir. You may go ahead and unmute yours.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. So, like I was saying, in the change of COVID and how everything operated, now you find that persons are willing to accept an additional cost for transportation with the advent of COVID and monkeypox and all the different changes. So you find that courier service and as transportation, how we look at transportation change. And that also was not foreseeable in the last 10 years, I would say. So stuff like that, we have to always revisit our business plan. I'm sure at one point in time, if KFC and Burger King and all the other restaurants did not understood that and change their business model to allow delivery, then they would have gone under during the time of COVID. We want to also look at week 4, we want to look at accounting principles, we want to look at the financial statement, how you project your financial statement, or you analyze those financial statements. We want to briefly look at insurance. Is insurance important, such as key money insurance, content insurance, perils, stuff like that. Is your location important? What are the things you look out for your location? We also want to look at funding your business, and we're going to close off by looking at the branding and growth strategies. And like I said, at the end of it, I'm hoping that everybody is able to have their business plan and raring to go. So tonight, our first session, we want to discuss ideas, business ideas, and how we evaluate them. But first, let's step back a bit. What you think, or who you think is an entrepreneur? Just by raise of hands, and we're going to take about three or so responses. Who you think an entrepreneur is? Just raise your hands, and we will unmute your mic. Anybody want to take a shot at it?
Okay, sir. We'll take Miss Slater first, and then Keith Scully.
Okay. Go ahead.
Miss Slater, you're up.
Miss Slater?
Oh, not hearing her again. Oh, Keith Scully, you may go ahead.
Hey, great night, everyone. Great night.
Yeah.
All right, so who's an entrepreneur? Someone who started their business from scratch.
And what do you mean by start business? What is starting a business? Keith? Hello? All right, I'm not
Yes,
hearing
Mr.
them.
Scully is not. So the next person we are having is Mikhail Dawes. And then we'll take Mona Lisa Harvey. Ms. Dawes, you may go ahead and mute your mic.
Mr. Dose.
Unmute. All right, good night, everyone. Yeah, man, thanks. Blessed man of God, Zidane.
Yes.
All right, so I believe an entrepreneur is a person who sets the tone for the initiation or innovation of a business venture. It does not necessarily have to be from scratch per se, as alluded by Keith, but this is somebody who spearheads, a business project, a business idea, or who pursues an idea and create it into or manifest it rather.
Okay. Not bad. And we take Miss
Mona
Mona
Lisa.
Lisa
Mona Lisa.
Harvey.
Good night. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. From me, an entrepreneur is someone that owns and operate their business.
Okay. All right. So we have heard own, operate your business. We have heard business a lot. Now, in parts, most persons were warm and understanding of what an entrepreneur is. By the essentials of the entrepreneurship and small business book, an entrepreneur is somebody who starts a new business in the face of risk and uncertainty, pool all the necessary resources together to capitalize on this opportunity. Now, it says pool all the necessary resources together. I want us to realize that it did not say that he or she owns all the resources. So I want to put into mind that you may outsource some of the skills that you don't have. You may lease some of the things you don't have, but in essence, you are organizing all of these resources, all the different factors in a bid to take advantage of an opportunity. And that is in a bid to make profit and a bid to grow. And that is what makes you an entrepreneur. But what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? What are some of the profile? What is the profile of the entrepreneur? What are some of the characteristics that the entrepreneur should have? One, you must always be responsible. Because at the end of the day, if you're not responsible, then you can't monitor your business properly. You can't attend to the needs of your clients properly. You can't meet the regulatory requirements, and then your business is going to be forced to pay penalties. Your customers will be dissatisfied, and you will be out of business in no time. Oftentimes, persons who are business persons are risk takers. You hear a lot of persons talk about, when I started my business, it was a one-way street. I invested all my money, or I gave up a lot for this business. I went on a plane and go look at the suppliers thing, and it was first time I was being in that country. When China opened to us, a lot of our merchants, a lot of our distributors, companies you find right now, they took plane to Japan. They took flights over there, and they've never been in the country, because they're saying, listen, I believe in this plan, I believe in this idea, and it has to work. So you must be somebody that's willing to take risks and willing to take calculated risks, and you must be responsible. You must also be self-reliant. So a lot of persons talk about, I want to be an entrepreneur, but they can't be relied upon. They don't believe in themselves. They don't think that they can do multiple roles. When you start a business and you wake up call, you're going to play multiple roles. For argument's sake, when I started my distribution business, I was not sitting in an office all the time processing receivables or processing invoices. Some of the times I was out there with the persons loading the trucks, loading the vehicles, and you have to play multiple roles. At some point in time, I was also filing my tax returns on a monthly basis, my GCT returns. You have to play multiple roles when you're just starting a business. Can't just think about one single area, because as you grow is where you add resources. It makes no sense that your revenue is not coming in and you're adding all the different personnels across because you want to full out the organizational chart. You have to add your personnel that add costs that matches your revenue as much as possible to keep your cash management intact. You also have to have confidence in yourself, confidence in your ability. You must be determined and you must have a desire to at least get feedback instantaneously so you can change it. And you must also be open to ideas, open to feedback. I had a grandfather, that's a quick little story. I had a grandfather. He was in charge of owned and operate a meat and grocery business in the country, Sherwood content. And that's where Usain Bolt is from. So my grandparents are from that parts of the world in Trelawney. And whenever customers came and give him any feedback, he was the most miserable person. And his response to them was always, well, negative. And I always said to myself, how does he keep customers? How does he keep customers if he's not open to the feedback? No, as an entrepreneur, you must be open to people's feedback. Even if you don't believe in what they're saying, take the feedback, see what you can do with it, turn around that experience into a positive one, and you would have earned a customer for a lifetime. Feedback is always good. People pay, big corporations pay serious money to get into the minds of their customers and potential customers. If you're getting that feedback from your customers for free, give them the space and the time to speak, give them the space and the time to talk to you so that you can learn, jot down, have your book out, talk to them. I remember in my distribution business, when I was, first time we're going out and we kept on hearing, oh, your price on this item is expensive. When I go around this wholesale around there, owned by a certain set of people who won't call their name now, but they're always selling a lower price. Why are you selling so high? Da, da, da. What we did, we took the feedback and we went to our suppliers and we had conversation and came up with strategies to meet those customers' complaints. And today we're still in business and doing well because we took the time out to take the customer complaints or concerns back to the suppliers, and we drafted up strategies in order to meet them and work with them, and in a bit to increase our revenue and growth. So feedback is always important. Write it down, jot it down, come up with strategies to solve them if there are problems. Come up with strategies to meet if there are needs and wow their desires of fulfilling them. You will be good for it. Your bottom line and profits will show for your effort. You must have high energy because you're going to work for long hours, especially when you're just starting up. You're going to work for long hours. In my distribution business, I'm here until 11 o'clock sometimes. Yes, you must strike a balance between your family life and your other areas of your life, your Christian life, but just bear in mind that running a business requires your attention. A wise lady once said to me that starting a business and growing a business is like raising a child. You give birth to the child and you are there to the ever beckon. If your child is crying, all the mothers online and fathers online, if your child is crying at 1 a.m. in the morning, you're going to get up and attend to your child because you love and care for that child. You want that child to grow. You want that child to fulfill his or her potential. Same thing with a business. If your business requires you at 1 a.m. in the morning, you have to be available. Can't turn over and say 8 8 a.m. or 10 a.m., I will go and sort that problem out. By the time you get there, we're living in a society. By the time you get there, you may not even have a business left if you don't attend to that business. There's an alarm for fire. There's an alarm for theft. You have to be there. Employ the necessary securities, give it your attention. If you don't give it your attention, you will lose it. So that wise lady once said to me, is like raising a child. Give it your utmost attention, and it will benefit you in the long run. You must also have the vision, future oriented. Think about what things can change. How do I weather this change? How be flexible enough to implement strategies that will ensure that you're able to be on that path. You must be good at organizing. Now, if you're not good at organizing, like some of us aren't, we can outsource that. We can have persons come in and deal with the administrative aspect of our business, but it's probably going to cost you, but it's going to cost you little than the money that you're going to lose if you're not a good organizer. You have to organize, you have to know what is happening in your business at any point in time. Can you imagine you're running a business like a doctor office, and your patient sending a lab report, or lab report comes to you, and you were tardy in getting to that lab report. Your patient is sick. If you had gotten to that patient or report on time, it was filed in the correct order, filed in the correct space, all your appointments were structured properly. You can imagine that you save lives, right? So if you're not organizing yourself properly, then certain businesses cost you, and it may cost lives. So you have to be have your organization down, and if you can't, outsource it. But please, you have to be very organized if you're going to operate a business. Important thing I want to leave here, and I left this point for the last in terms of the profile, because I want persons to understand that money is a good motivational factor, but you must also remember that if you add value to your customers' lives, that is going to surpass the initial stage immediacy of the money that you're earning. Once you add value to a customer, add value to somebody's life, your business is going to last forever. People pay for value. Yes, there may be a fad or a fashion or a thing going on, and you might jump in on that and ride the wave. However, if you're not adding value to your customer life, then that fashion, that trend will fade, and it will left you out hanging. So whenever you're doing your business, when you're an entrepreneur, always try to add value to your customers, and that will manifest in monies to come. Focus on value rather than money. And this chart is what I want to focus on. We have heard the myth about what is a good entrepreneur, what DNA of a good entrepreneur is. And we all learned that teamwork is good work. There's no I in team. There's no me, there's a we. And if I don't feel like a we, then the business is not going to go forward. But here it is, that Ernst & Young did a survey in 2001, and it shows that working as a team, 37% of the person they surveyed were good at working on a team. 38% here was focused on customers. That may go contrary to what we believe an entrepreneur should have, don't it? However, think about it. An entrepreneur is always the person that is sitting down there making a harsh decision. When the fire is there, he's the one that is making a decision. He's the one that has to lead. Now, there's 3 levels of leadership in my mind. You can lead from in front, you can lead beside, that's where you do the teamwork, and you can lead behind, which you empower. A lot of these entrepreneurs are persons who led from the front, were able to make quick decisions, were able to make right decisions, were able to stand firm and to know what to do. We know in James talk about a person who is double-minded, not necessarily achieve much. I think this is what they're focusing on here. in that you have to be certain about your direction in where you want to go, and you have to be steadfast in what you want to do. And that sometimes may cause you to not go with the crowd. You have to be individualistic and differentiate yourself away from your competition. I also believe that you need to be customer focused, but not necessarily to the detriment of your business. So here, 30% of those persons decided that customer focus was important. But look at the top here. Look at the top. We saw vision and passion and drive, integrity. And we still talk about business ethics and get around to the final slides. You realize that these scored high. That's because an entrepreneur needs to be flexible in thinking about what the future looks like. How do they navigate the future? What do they put inside in order to ensure the organization is flexible to weather the storm? Where they want to take it? You see, we know that without a vision, the people perish. So you're leading your organization, your people have put their lives in your hands. You have to be able to be clear in your vision, clear in what you want to do, be able to forecast, be able to think ahead. If you're somebody that is not able to do so, then you probably have to import that into your business, or else you're not going to be able to reach a full heights of what your business can do. You have to be passionate. Nobody should be able to sell your business more than you. You may not have been trained as a salesperson. You may not have had your innate ability to sell. But what you must do is have embodied the passion about your business. When you speak to a potential client, you must be saying to that potential client, I can do this. I am so motivated about doing this, about solving your needs. I want to add value to your life. Just give me that opportunity and I will do so. You have to be passionate. You can't be lukewarm about whatever you're doing, because that lukewarmness is going to come across to the customer. And the customer going to either feel unimportant, but either feel that you're not able to do what you say you're going to do. They don't hear the confidence in you. You have to have that passion and say, I am going to do this. Even if it's you alone walking down that road, you don't have the support of your family and friends. If you have the support of God and your strong will, you are going to go down that road, and you're going to walk that road if it's mean walking alone, because you believe in it. Can you imagine the first time? I'm not sure the age group here, but you remember one time how we watch movies was on cassettes, Blockbuster were on cassettes. You remember that time? Anybody? And in that time, it was not foreseeable in our minds that we would have Netflix. Just imagine that, just a few years ago. As a matter of fact, let's take it even further. The internet in which we're using now, a Zoom call, Zoom meeting. A couple years ago, we weren't thinking about the use of the internet, not even in this forum, this format. No, it's a business. So you have to have that vision. And I'm sure the persons who probably Blockbuster turned and said, no, that's not going to go anywhere. They weren't passionate enough to say, let me invest in research and development. Let me invest into seeing what is happening, change it. Nobody must be more passionate about your business than you, even if you're not the most knowledgeable in your area that you're serving. Please have the passion, have the strength. Push forward in your business. Nobody must sell your business more than you. You're a walking billboard for your business. You're a promoter of business. Somebody wake up 2 a.m. in the morning and talk about, you must be able to speak about your business. You are a walking representative of your business. And anybody that is employed, you have employed, or working with you in the fulfilling that dream must also share your passion and drive. If they don't, they're going to talk to your customers, your potential customers, in a vein as that they don't care. Can anybody explain to me the feeling they have when you go to the tax offices sometimes? You're turned off sometimes by some of the reaction you will get, correct? Am I lying? You get so weary sometimes, worn out, you're tired, you can't deal with them. Because when they're talking to you, they're just lukewarm. And they know you must come pay taxes. They know you must pay your tax, you don't want that sort of attitude in your business. You want persons who are energized. You want persons who are saying, we value your business. When you take time out to come to me, you take time out to spend your money here, is not by chance, it's not guaranteed. I respect and appreciate every dollar that you spend with me. If you don't have that sort of attitude about your business and drive about your business, how is that your employees and persons who work with you, the stakeholders are going to share that same dream? You have to have it. So that is why I believe all of these things up here is very important into the DNA of a customer. Little later, we're going to talk about business ethics, but I see integrity here as being very, very high up on the DNA. And I will say to you that you might not realize it now, but if you're speaking with a customer and a customer can value what you say and realize that you are persons of integrity, you're persons that your word means something and your actions match your words, they will be coming back to you repeatedly. People respect persons who have proper business ethics, and they will continue to be with you. A little later, we will speak more about that. But that is a very good seller and a very good differentiator when you're trying to go out there and show your business great value proposition that there is. So we're going to move on to persons use the word businesses a lot. And we want to ask you, what's a business versus a side hustle? A lot of persons, they say, I know I'm operating a business. I'm sure some of us would have come across some tradesmen that have furniture business, plumbing business, and we say to ourselves, boy, this man only works on a Saturday. This man only works on a Tuesday. This man only works on a Tuesday. This man only works on a Saturday. He doesn't treat the business, he doesn't give the business enough time. He doesn't treat your job with enough effort. Now, he may be running a business in his mind, but in actuality, he may be doing a side hustle. The term business refers to an organization and enterprise entity which engage in commercial or industrial or professional activities. You're doing it, organizing all the different economic source of economic production, goods or services in a bid to make profit. So you might have some non-profit organizations. We won't focus on that throughout the course of the 6 weeks, but we won't focus on the profit-oriented businesses. And you're doing that to make a profit, right? All right. A side hustle is simply something you do to make a money. You do it not as your main job. You do it as just some person would call it a one-off transaction. Let me give you an example. Say you come into contact with some auto parts. So you go on a yard sale, you set up a tent and you say, okay, I have some auto parts, I'm going to sell you, da, 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 da. You sell that auto parts. You're not coming the next day to sell auto parts. You're coming to sell something else if you get access to more auto parts or to more goods. You're going to come that next day selling something else. Your customers can't know what you're selling. The customer don't know what you're about. You do it. They come on a Tuesday, they don't see it. They see you the Saturday. Okay, they come the Saturday, they don't see you. They see you the Tuesday. That means you're doing it in your spare time, whenever the time allows, whenever your money run out, whenever the opportunity presents itself, that's when you do it. That's what we call side hustle. That's our business. Side hustle can grow into a business, but what makes it into a business? What is the difference between a side hustle and a business? A business must be scalable. Important thing to recognize here in businesses is that You can start as small as you want, as small as the business idea allow you to. And then you will grow into where you want it to go. You don't have to have this mega plan and start with this mega amount of money. Your business must be scalable. So you might be able to sell $1 million per week this time around. As you put in different strategies in place, you get more known, you're branding more, you're sending out yourself more, you're promoting yourself more. You might see you grow into other business line and growing your revenues to 10 million per week. That's what makes it a business. Now, in the example I gave you before, selling auto parts on Tuesday, and then by Wednesday, you're selling some shampoo or household items. What it means is that your supply chain, your supply channel of how you get your goods is not concrete, is not solid. So you sell whatever you get your hands on. It might be very well you call your business an haberdashery. All things to sell. Maybe that's what you need to call your business. But if a customer can't come to you and be ensured that they're going to get auto parts next week, then you find that they won't have the confidence, they won't have the stick-to-itiveness to come to you. A business must also be sustainable. You might need to have your proper distribution channel, you might have a proper location. Even if you don't use a location, people must be able to access you. There are a lot of online businesses now, but they must be able to access you. Your number must be readily accessible. Your email must be readily checked if you're using email. Your means of payment must always be credible and up. Security-wise, it must be up. If people can't trust you, you can't have sustainable businesses. If people can't get to you, you can't have sustainable businesses. Like a man with a side hustle. He does it when he feels like doing it. He does it when he wants to do it. That's not a business, and people want the confidence in you and you won't grow. Your intention, you must be intentional about what you're doing. You must be intentional about what you're delivering to your customers. If you're not doing that, then it's not a business. A business is intentional. People know what you're about. People know what you bring to the table. People can trust your word. People can trust what you're delivering, your service, what you're delivering. And time, as I made mention here, that a side hustle is people do it when they feel like, in their spare time. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, obviously you can't do your business while you're on the job. Say do it on a weekend or in the night. That's a side hustle. But that side hustle can grow into your main income with the proper strategies and plans. So most businesses are started while we are working with somebody else or working in a different capacity. And then as it grows, we transition into it and to supply our time and labor to that business. So nothing wrong with starting as a side hustle, just for you to recognize that if you want to take it on a business level to grow and maximize and reach your full potential, it has to be scalable. It has to be sustainable. You have to be intentional about it, and you have to give it your time. Now we get to the big area. Business ideas and how we evaluate business ideas. I'm going to go through 2 different ways to do it. First is an approach, and the second one is an analysis. Now, the approach is either a top-down or a bottom-up approach. What do we mean by that? So you decide that from a top down, let's just say you're focusing on Jamaica. Jamaica is your wider economy. Now you say to yourself, I know Jamaican women are fashionistas. They're beautiful women. They always like to present themselves and look well. Some of them wear enhancers to bring out the beauty within them. So you want to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to develop a makeup kit that regardless of your shade or complexion, it blends in well with you. You say to yourself, okay, I'm going to focus on Jamaican women at the broad level. How many Jamaican women we have? Just over 1 million. How many working in how many are part of the labor force? close to $1 million, about, I think is about 700 or 800 right now. So let's just say your target in 800 persons. And you say, okay, how often they use makeup? They use makeup probably a makeup lasts them. I don't know, ladies. I'm showing out. I'm showing out things. They might last them 3 months. So you have potential to sell the 800,000 clients every 3 months. The idea is that you want to sell a makeup that blend in with person's skin, no matter what skin tone, what skin color, what skin shade, what type of skin. It's just blending perfectly. All right. So that is a top-down approach. You're focusing on that person. Then you might get down to the different packaging and the different ways to sell to the different type of women. So you might drill it down now to a community level, to an association level, and then to individual level. How do you market, or you sell to them, That is your top down. The bottom up approach now. Go back to the auto parts example. Let's just say you have a car and you're searching for this particular part and you can't find it. And you say to yourself, I wonder if everybody who has this car can't find this part. This is big business, you know. This is big business. If I could only source this part and be the supplier of this part in Jamaica, look how many cars that come through Jamaica. You know what? I'm going to go into that. So you start with your individual level, and then you have grossed up in your mind to think about, wonder if persons in my community in Kingston can't find it. I wonder if persons in Jamaica can't find it. And then you would have gone up with the idea to try to get an understanding of what your market looks like and how your money, your potential money and your competitors and all these other things. In each approach, whether it's a top down or bottom up approach, you have to ask yourself, is this a need that I've identified? Is this a problem that I've identified or known? Or is it a desire? Now, in the case of the makeup, for the one makeup fit all shade women, it may not necessarily be a need, but it may be a problem that you're trying to identify and solve. Because we know that it's hard to find a shade sometimes. Sometimes one color, one shade may work for you, and then a couple months down the line, it does not blend in again, it doesn't fit. Ladies, I know you know what I'm talking about. Some of us men, we may not have an idea, but so I've heard that it's very difficult to find a shade and a particular brand sometimes. So it may be a problem that ladies have. So you're trying to solve that problem. Now, a situation about the car, which is the bottom-up approach, which I use the car as an example. It may be in a situation like that. It's a need. Your car needs to drive so you can go to work and move around, and you can't find the parts. So it's okay, there's a need here. How do I meet it? Now we have on screen here, desire. Didn't use the example in the top-down or bottom-up approach a while ago. But let me just give you an example. Nuts for the Express. A couple years ago, before Nuts for the Express was a thing, how many of us really saw it as a problem to send down a package with a friend and family, use a taxi and send down a package, use the courier service and send down something? How many of us thought that, okay, let me park my car and go on Nuts for a meeting down the Montego Bay or back? We didn't really think about it like that, but haven't realized that that desire is there. And some of us don't want to drive or can't bother with the drive. It's tiring. Nuts for the Express provided for that. It fulfilled that desire for you to relax. Let them take the travel or the pains and out of that and satisfy your needs. they're carrying packages down for you, so somebody to pick up for you. That is satisfying a desire rather than you have to go to this courier service and log in and tag in and track the dog. They are doing it for you in a much easier and simpler way. Even the advent of the internet was a desire to communicate. Even what we're doing now, Zoom, is a desire to communicate, even if we're not in the present. And somebody decided to provide a service or a product that solved that. Now, desires is hard to come up with because you have to have the vision, you have to have the fortitude to think about it and to say how you're going to get to fulfilling whatever desire that you're come up with. But persons have done it, and persons who do it makes enormous money doing it. Now, after you have identified, use a different approach, identify the need, identify how you plan to solve it, then you need to go a little further and evaluate what are the benefits of this idea that I've come up with. Whether I'm going to solve the need, whether I'm going to satisfy the need, solve the problem, or I'm going to fulfill the desire. You think about what is the number of, so you hear me in the example I spoke for the makeup, I spoke about how many women is in Jamaica, how many working women, and I gave some number, and I said how many women would want to use makeup. I know a lot of women are naturally beautiful. They don't use makeup. They just wash their face, put on some nice baby oil, and they're good to go, moisturize, and they're good to go. But some persons do it. So obviously that number that I gave, your target audience may be a little bit lower than that. But it's idea that you want to quantify it. You also want to understand that there are some persons in the market already providing makeup. So is it that somebody want a one size fit all? Is it somebody want a makeup that blend in with their skin no matter what time of day and shade? Yes, they probably want that. What is your competitors doing or going to do in reaction to you coming up with that? What sort of market share you're going to take from them? How do you plan to differentiate your business from those competitors? What are you trying to achieve on a day-to-day basis, or what are you trying to achieve in the far future? What is your vision? You're going to analyze all that and have all of that written down. Of course, not in great details as yet, because you're just dealing with the idea. As we go along the business implementation process, such as your business plan, we would then speak about how you analyze these ideas into a feasibility analysis a little deeper, but you're just focusing on just the idea generation and the idea development phase. What are the costs in putting or implementing this idea? We want to talk about the makeup. You probably have to talk about having medical personnel evaluated. You want to talk about the regulatory approvals. You want to talk about setup and manufacturing equipment, ingredients, where you're going to get the ingredients from. All of these things need to be cost out. And then there are some costs which you may not know, that the cost of marketing, the cost of getting it out, some costs that you can identify. You write them down, but you just know they can't identify them. You're going to do some further research, but you want to at least mention them. And then here comes the metrics for your decision using this analysis. If your benefit outweighs your cost, then you proceed to the next stage with your business idea. If it doesn't, then you don't proceed. It makes no sense that the cost that you have identified for doing all of this exceed the benefit that you plan to get, and you still embark on that journey. You're setting up yourself to lose money. There might be a situation in which your benefit outweighs your costs, but there are some costs in which you can't identify and readily access information on. So I would say, don't proceed until you have solved that. For argument's sake, let me give an example. Let's just say you require good resource persons to function in particular area to make it work. And you have not identified that person to be your salesperson, you have not identified that person to be your administrative persons, you have not identified that person to be your accountant, but you know that that cost does exist and you want to fill it. Until you can fill it with the right persons, do not proceed. Okay, yes, it will make money, but you will lose money not having the right persons in the right positions at times, because a lot of times it's the persons and how they manage their different roles makes the business survive. Am I clear on that? Everybody understand? All right, so we're going to go on to the next way how to analyze your business idea. And this one is called force field analysis. It's somewhat close to brainstorming, and it allows you to be subjective in appointing different scores. So we'll go through and see where it can be used and how does it work. You basically have 3 columns. Your center column would outline what is it you're trying to do, what the issue you have. So in our example, let's take the makeup example. We want to produce or go into a cosmetic business. We want to produce a product that allow, no matter what time of day it is, no matter what skin color, skin shade, no matter what season, that makeup blends in perfectly with any skin type. That is our issue, that is our business, that's in the center. The forces are the factors that support doing that business is on your extreme left. And the forces that restrain you from doing that is on your right. What happens is that you're going to apply scores to the supporting forces. I will start from weak to very strong. For weak, you give a score of +1. For very strong, you give up a score of 5 for all different factors that you have outlined. Here are some of the examples of some of the forces that you can come up with. The people, the personnel. I spoke about not having the right persons in the right jobs. If you're having that and you have the right person, then that may be a supporting force, and you add a number 5 to it, because very strong. You have the right persons, very educated, ready and raring to go. But if that person, if you don't have those persons, then it's going to be a restraining force, and that may be a -5. The cost, the trends, the politics may be going into an era in which politics we have very, very high deterrent or high supporting factor. You're going to write that down and put it on the different side, which is ungraded. Regulations may be very high in that market. Depending on that business idea, you put it on your restraining or you put it on your supporting if it helps you. And then in the end, it looks something like this. The driving forces, 1, 2, 3, 4, the different factors, pushing towards the change, your restraining order, your restraining forces, sorry, that pushing against it. And when you add up your scores, the idea that has the highest score, that's the idea that you move forward with. If an idea have a negative score, you don't move forward with it, because if it is negative, it is saying to you that the restraining forces is greater than the driving forces towards it, and it makes no sense you enter. If you have several competing ideas, then it makes sense for you to evaluate, and the one with the highest scores, that's the one that you proceed with. For persons who already have existing businesses, and you might think about having a new business line or doing something different, this form of analysis can also help you. So you put whatever issue you have in the middle, and you say, new business line, or I need to change it. What are supporting factors that support it on my left? What are your factors that restrain it on your right? And you tabulate your scores, 1 being for weak, 5 being for very strong. And the supporting factor get a positive number, the restraining factor get a negative number, and you sum it. And if it is coming negative, then it is saying to you, don't proceed with that new business line. Don't proceed with that change in your existing business. If it is positive, then it might something you want to explore a little bit more and evaluate and improve upon it. If it is a new business that you're forming, new business area, If it is positive or it get a higher number than other competing ideas, then you move forward with that and do some more research on that and going forward. Are those two methods clear? Everybody is okay with information so far? Good, wonderful. All right. I'm happy that everybody is understanding, and I know that we're going to, after this session, we're going to go back now and evaluate, come up with ideas, develop the ideas, put in the two different models and trash them out, analyze them, and we come up with some great ideas for our business plan that we're going to have at the end and for implementation. Correct? That's what we want to do. All right, so now that we have our business idea, we have evaluated it, and we say, you know what? We want to move forward. So we are confident now that we can implement some of these business ideas and turn them into a business. I want to provide some, along that road and that journey, can be good, can be sweet, but there are some little bumps that I want you to avoid. Some little potholes, Jamaica road state, some little potholes that we want to avoid. Some little areas we want to avoid, some little trees we want to avoid. It's like getting a traffic report. Back in the day, we used to get traffic reports in the morning, right? It's like somebody telling you, avoid that area because there's going to be traffic, going to be long delays. I remember an helicopter spinning and we hear an helicopter noise in the background here. Yeah, always looking forward to it. And so what's happening here now, I'm going to give you some of the pitfalls that I want you to avoid so that when you embark on develop that idea some more, you will not be caught in some of those potholes or pitfalls. So first, you must know your business. I'm not telling you to be the brightest person in the business area, the subject area, but you must at least do your research. Do some, get some understanding of what the business you're entering into. Just come up with a great idea about makeup. For argument's sake, let's say I come up with that idea about making makeup that fits all women, regardless of shade and color and size. I want to do this business. It makes sense. Idea makes sense on paper. Do I research how to create the makeup? No, mom, I don't really need to do that. I don't really need to do that. I just need to have a basic idea and outsource the development to some doctors and somebody of UE or somebody in United States or China. And once I get the final product now, I just put some labels on it and brand it and send it out. No, you may be able to make money, but you may not be able to grow that business to sufficient level which you want it without having proper knowledge of how it works. How does the makeup irritate the skin? How does it clog the pores? How you clean off the makeup? What sort of cleanser works with that makeup? Are you going to develop your own cleansers? Are you going to have your own appliers? You're going to a special sponge. Maybe it's in the application of the makeup that makes it blend in with all skin. It is a particular type of brush that makes it work. No, ladies, I'm just talking out of general knowledge. I don't know what. I was giving an example to stretch the idea some more. So you have to be in-depth knowledge about what your business and the business that you're in. Research, always read and research a new thing. If you're in mechanics, auto business, you have to read about the new technology, new way of doing stuff. Cars are coming computerized now. You have to be able to do the diagnostic tests and stuff like that on the computer. You have to be able to change as the world evolves. So you have to study and know your business. What sort of business structure and model is suitable for you? Sometimes it's best to test the model. So let's just say you are selling auto parts. You get in a sample of the auto parts from the suppliers, and then you sell it to a few persons who fix cars. Run the cycle through, see how it works, develop the kinks, solve for those kinks to ensure that when you go large scale and you're scaling up, you would have already ironed out those problems. Same with the makeup idea. You want to test the makeup on a broad cross-section of persons. Give it to them free. Apply it the way how you have researched and decided this is how it applies. Use the same fibers that you decided that these are in the fibers that allow you to use it. Then you can test your product and see that it works, and you go through all the different things. In that, you would have developed what is called your value proposition. What's going to set you apart from your competitors in order to make your business grow. Proof of concept, same ideas that we're talking about. All right, we want to develop a solid business plan. And I said the business plan is not static. It is something that you're going to look on and change as the economy changes and as times change, but you at least want to have a starting point. Ensure that your foundation is solid. Sometimes I always wonder when people say they're having strat plan, but we have all been a part of companies and companies have strat plan. Right now we're having strat plan is a thing of the past. We're now calling it facilitation process. So it's ever changing and flexible. Same way your business plan must be solid. Some things are core to your business plan, but you must be able to have the flexibility and change of strategy to going forward. You also want to understand your financial statements. You need to monitor it and understand it so that you're able to give directions as to what is going forward. Let's have argument's sake. You're selling $1 million, but it costs you to sell at $1 million, whether your administrative costs, your salaries and stuff like that, it costs you $800,000 to sell at 1 million. Your net profit is 200,000. That means that your net profit margin is 20%. Another person is selling the same million, or another business selling the same million, but it costs them less to do so. It costs them 500,000 to produce the same million. That person net profit margin is 50%. You know what that means? That person can take on to the magnitude of a 30% net margin, outbid you, outsell you, outperform you if you're in the same business. So you have to find a way or a strategy to bring down your costs or to bring your margin in line with that person such that you're able to compete with that person. That is what I mean about understanding your financial statement and understanding what strategy you can put in place to ensure that you're able to compete and outperform your competitors. Managing your financial resources. Every small business, cash is your king. You may sell to somebody, and your sales look good, but if you're not collecting, your receivables are high. People owing you very, very, very high. What happens when your suppliers come knocking at your door and say, we need our money, you owe us? What do? You have to be able to match that. Your money that you owe to your suppliers, you want to match it with your payment cycle of what you're collecting. And what we call that is a cash cycle. In accounting, we call it cash cycle. The smaller your cash cycle, the better your business is. Because what a cash cycle is in essence evaluating is how easy it is for you to turn your production, your process into cash. And the easier you're able to do that, is the better it is for your business. Now, some businesses are seasonal, we know. So you might, just by share of what you do, it may take you 3 months because that's just what your business is about. Just like persons who are, let's say a real estate business. A real estate business can have a cash cycle of 30 days because it takes longer than 30 days to build a house and to hand over to potential home buyers. So you might be having a cash cycle of a year or 18 months. Vis-a-vis somebody who is selling goods, grocery, then their cash cycle generally is between 20 to 45 days because persons come to them establishment to buy goods and services for their household every month. You have to be somebody that influences people. I'm not saying that you must lead with an iron fist. That's not what I mean when I said you must be able to manage people effectively. Iron fist may be required in some business segment and with some staff or some person that work with you, but you must be able to motivate every personnel regardless of their background in order to get the best out of them. Business leaders are influencers. Great influencers make great business leaders, and great business leaders mean greater profits. Always be there to motivate, to lead, and to guide your persons in order to achieve what you want to achieve. You want to be able to establish what is the difference between you and your customers and your competition, sorry. If only thing that separates you is a price, so you're selling cheaper than the next person at all you're selling, then what's going to happen is that as soon as a person is able to get the goods cheaper, then that customer leaves you. You don't want something like that. You want something else to set you apart from your business. Is it how you relate to your customer? Is that you onboard your customer very quickly? Is it that you serve your customer in an efficient time and a timely manner? You're very dependable. Is it that when you give quality, it is quality beyond none, second to none? You give the best quality work that there is. And no matter if you're charging a higher price, what is the quality? You pay for what you get. I give you the best quality. I can guarantee that when I produce this, you can find it nowhere else. This serves you and serves you long. If I'm writing a report that will get for you to get business financing, when I finish that report is going to make you go to even Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs will give you. JP Morgan will give you that money because it is so convincing. It is so well done. Every T is crossed, every I is dotted. And that is the kind of thing you sell. Quality, confidence. In short, it doesn't matter your cost of doing the report. People will pay for that. Quality is important. If that's what you want to set your business apart on, it doesn't necessarily have to be price, but something must be there to separate your business. Positive attitude. You must be able to always be positive. You have to believe in yourself. You have to promote yourself. You have to promote your business. Be positive people. Positive attract positive, and you will do well. Now I want to focus on, I think this is the last section I'm going to focus on, and I left it for last because it is very important. People don't give it a lot of attention, but it is one of the areas in which if you master this, you'll be able to have long-standing customers, long-standing staff, and great work environment, great branding, and enormous profit. Now, business ethics speaks to what are your morals, what are your behavioral standards that you might find in an organization and among the stakeholders you work with. Chilon once said that he prefers to make a loss than a dishonest gain, because one brings pain at the moment, but the other is for a lifetime. Imagine you selling something to somebody. You con them out of there's no prices covered. You sell somebody something today for $100, and tomorrow the person comes and buys the same thing. Nothing has changed on your cost side, but you sell the person for $250 because you feel like selling for $250. What happens is that you have created a doubt in the person's mind of your integrity. You have created a doubt that you're somebody that's honest. The person may be in a need and need it at that moment in time, but that's the last 250 sale you're going to get from that person. So sometimes it is better to do a transaction in which you probably just break even, but you would have created an idea in the person's mind that I am a man of integrity, and I'm going to serve you for the long haul. Say for argument's sake, you sell a defective product. You know the product was defective when you sold it. The person carried it back and said, boy, the product defective. You don't take it back because you say, oh, my policy is that once you leave my store, that's it, and the sale is already booked. You sell a faulty car. You know the car was faulty. I know buy as is, see as is a thing. But if you have an integrity, you're going into a car dealership, you can't be selling lemons all the time. So if somebody carry back a car and say the car is not working, but give them a store credit, work on the car and then give them back, say, oh, where I can return your money, bring what is the problem to me and I will solve it for you. I would work on that car and give it back to you. Those things encourage customers, loyalty and long-standing customer base. That's very, very, very important. Business ethics have about 3 different layers. We're going to start with a very low level, lowest level, and the more minimum level. That is law. What is written in law is what we tend to apply at this level. So if it is not good to take somebody's, if it is against the law to take somebody's money without providing necessary information about that good, then the person can bring in a court of law and sue you in the civil court about that particular transaction. So I know some stores have this old situation that once you pay for it, you have signed a contract. In law, we know once an offer has been made and acceptance has been had to you bring it to the counter, money has exchanged, and those are 3 criteria for a contract to be held. But you must also have another layer of business ethics that governs you. And this is where we have organizational policy and procedures now, where you and your organization form different policy and procedures, how to deal with goods return, how to deal with stuff what's going on in organizations such as sexual harassment, whistleblowing, stuff of that nature. Because if the environment is free and clear, somebody sees something going wrong, can come to you with all confidence. Investigation is done in secrecy, it is done properly, then person are going to more open to protect your business and protect the working environment. If you're a leader that don't have a problem with sexual harassment and there's no sexual harassment policy, you might be in problems legally with the law now, because they're trying to pass that. And you might also have a problem with your staff and your personnel. So you might want to ensure that person respect you, respect your organization, and respect your staff. That breeds a very good environment, that breeds a good brand, that encourages stakeholders to come and promote your business. For the beauty supply persons, some persons don't like when you come to the business and they're talking about other people business. So you are somebody always come and talk other people business too. If a customer comes in and hear that, then customer say, but I'm in an establishment that is rumor circulating, rumor giving, people business are being discussed. I'm very uncomfortable coming back here, and that might deter them. So you may have a policy and procedure that when I am doing here, when anybody is doing the hair or nails are providing any sort of beautification, there's no conversation and talking and rumor circulating over that customer head. That is what would breed into the environment that encourages customers to come back and loyalty and improve standing. You might have your moral standing. Your moral standing now is maybe greater than your law, greater than what the policy and procedure says, but it's just how you were brought up. Like if there's nothing about how you talk to somebody in the organization, but you were brought up knowing that to respect the word, I must honor somebody. The word said I must honor you, and I honor you by speaking to you properly. Then I can't be in the business environment and I'm dishonoring you and speaking to you how I feel, whether I'm the business owner or I'm not the business owner. I have to speak to you properly, respect. I command that respect, then I give that respect. And that's not necessarily have to written in a policy. It may come from how you were brought up, come from you're a woman or a man of God. And all these things breed into what is called your moral stance, and that enables you to have proper business ethics. Now, what are some of the benefits of having this proper business ethics? It protects your brand. It is the right thing to do. It creates customer trust and loyalty we talk about, investors' confidence, more profits, and people start believing in your business. And that is why a lot of businesses do not grow to their full potential. Our businesses are stuck in the idea phase. Businesses are stuck in the implementing phase, the original, the ground level, is because when they operationalize their business, they did not pay attention to business ethics. They did not pay attention to how you were going to deal with certain things on a moral level, and persons can't trust your integrity. Remember, we spoke about what is the DNA of entrepreneurs, and integrity was number 4 on the list. That means that business ethics, your integrity, is important for the sustainability and growth of your business. And I encourage all of you, when you start your business or doing your business, please ensure that you employ good business ethics. And that's where I end for the night, and I open the floor for questions. Somebody asked me to see the last slide. Yes, I'm open the floor for questions.
I see Alicia Alena, she has a raised hand, so I suppose she has a question.
Sure. Sure, Miss Allen, go ahead, please.
Okay, great night. My question is, based on everything that has been taught, it seems as if it's for large companies. So I wanted to know if the concept can also be used like for small businesses.
Yes, it is for all size businesses. So remember the idea generation and analysis section that we have dealt with a while ago. It was for you to form a business, get the business idea and how you evaluate through that business idea and how you will implement those business ideas. Now, in terms of business ethics, no matter if you have a small business with just 2 persons involved or just yourself at the time, your business ethics start with you. The very first sentence on this last slide says, entrepreneurs set the ethical tone for their companies. So if it's 1 staff you have, which is you set the ethical tone for your business. Your moral stance, your moral table is what is going to set the tone where your customer is going to walk in, deal with you and see what you are about. What are you okay with, what you're not okay with. Let me give an example. Let's just say you had a store and you had a cash register. And you might hear a lot of persons say, if you pay me cash, it is 15% less. Because that person is telling the customer that if you pay me cash, then I don't have to run it through the register and I don't have to turn over the taxes to the government. No, that is telling the person that you're willing to forego the customer and the government tax to provide this sale. What that says about your integrity? That says that you are not a man or a woman of integrity. No, we know the Bible says, give unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar. So we are going to try our very best to minimize the amount of taxes that we pay in the legal framework. But we must also remember that it is our responsibility and moral stance to pay over taxes to the government. No, that customer is going to know that they can come to you with anything because you are going to willing, for the last dollar, you're willing to compromise your business ethics. Now that is not a size of a company. That is not the number of persons you have, a number of sales that you're doing. That has to do with the individuals and your business ethics. If it is 1 person in your business, it's 2 person in your business, or just 200, your business ethics is important. And how you start and what you implement in your foundation. Remember, we're building a foundation here to get to where we want to see our business. It starts here with the smallest things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Are there any other questions?
I see Judith. Judith, go ahead.
Go ahead, Judith. Hello.
I'm not on mute.
Yes, you are. We're hearing you.
Okay, thank you. Great night, everyone. Great night, everyone. What I was saying, okay, if you're in a business and you keep on getting an increase, and people are still adamant of the fact that you're increasing the sale, how do you go about that?
I'm not sure if I understand your question. You're saying you're in a business and persons are concerned about you increasing your sales?
Yes, for instance, I'm in the poultry rearing and also eggs. So I keep on getting increase, like within 2 weeks, I get an increase of like almost $500 on the feed. And people are complaining that the price of the eggs are high and all of that. And I try to explain to them that it's based on the price of the feed. But there are other persons who they buy the chickens, they would buy the layers secondhand. So they would sell the eggs a little cheaper. But for me who buy the layers at a more increased price, I would have to be lenient of how I sell the eggs. So how would I go about that one?
All right. So there's two parts answering that question. One, which you have started to do, which is to explain to your potential clients and customers of why you are increasing your price. But you would have realized that increasing your price so rapidly is causing them to be concerned about how you're pricing your chickens, and it brings into question, is Miss Brown trying to rob us? Is Miss Brown trying to make every last dollar from us? And why not go to our competition that is selling a whole lot cheaper? That's what they're saying. But explanation and giving them feedback as to how it works or how you do your pricing will help them. Not necessarily make them buy more, but will help them. But the greater response to your question is, remember I gave the example. Two persons are selling the same product. One is making $1 million in sales, the other wasn't making $1 million in sales. The first company is able, their costs, which is what you're talking about now, your feeds and what to maintain your chickens and layer eggs and stuff like that, is costing you $800,000 to do. So your profit, if you should keep the price as is, your profit is going to be $200,000. So your net profit margin, remember I spoke about net profit margin being $200,000 over the 1 million, which is 20%. So you're being squeezed if you keep the price at the same level, because your margin per egg, the money that you make off each egg and the money you make off each chicken, that margin is diminishing with the increase in your cost of your feed. That's what you're experiencing. Now, the other person who buys this chicken secondhand and able to produce a cheaper, the same $1 million sales, but doing it cheaper, it is synonymous to the person that I explained to you that was me costing $500,000 to get the same million. So that person margin is now 50%. Now that person now, Judith, now is killing you, because that person is able to have a larger margin. And so they're able to maneuver the price a little bit and outmaneuver you into the chicken business. But here what you do to compete against that. You now have to look back at your business model. Look back at your business operation and say to yourself, is there a way for me to get my costs down? Do I need to look at different suppliers for my chicken feed? Do I need to explore what other persons are doing in buying the second-hand chicken? Is it sustainable? I buy a few of that and merge it with the ones that I have and bringing down my overall weighted costs a little bit so that I can compete on those eggs with this competitor that I have that is outselling me because he or she is not facing the same cost that I am facing. So I think that we need to come up with strategies that would ensure that you bring your costs down. So maybe look into a new supplier. You maybe also look into the same strategy that you heard that you may mention a person is doing to ensure that your cost is coming down. Secondly, what you could also look on is that you could get into delivering these chickens to the persons in different packages so that you can say to them, while this person is selling to you cheaper, I'm doing additional service. So you're selling your additional service of delivery if you're not already doing that. I'm just throwing out ideas here. Additional service to your customers so that you're not just selling price for price, but you're selling a total package of your business, which is delivery, efficiency, and getting it in the quantum in which you require. You can also say you're selling more healthy chickens if that is the situation, because I'm assuming a second-hand chicken may not be as healthy as your chicken. So you market healthy, you market be able to package and transport it to them, and you also would want to sort of see if there are other ways of changing suppliers to bring down your costs so that you're able to compete with your competitors. And I hope that some of that helps with you and your business. All right, we're going to take one more question and then we close. I see Latoya hands raised. We take Latoya question and then we close with prayer.
Good night to you, Pastor, and to everyone. Just wanted to find out from you in regards to the during the planning and the research phase of one's business, how do you go about, what are some of the factors that we should look at in regards to that of the registration of one's business? Could you comment on that for me, please?
All right, I will comment on it briefly, but I don't want to steal the thunder of next week, because next week we will be focusing on registering your business and the different structure and the tax implications for surrounding how you register the business. But what I would say to you is every business requires different structure fits different businesses. And what is also good is that you do a general research on if there are similar type businesses in different areas, may not be in Jamaica, but maybe in a different Caribbean island or maybe in the United States or somewhere in North America or Europe. You can research on how they did that. Normal Google search, you read the different business articles and magazine. Harvard have a few free online business review articles that you can read, and you can get a sense of how they did it and to see if some of how they did it can work in Jamaica. And that's where you start to do your business, do your analysis of what other persons did. How can you use some of what they did and improve upon it? As it relates to just the mere registration, some of it require you to have the idea of how you want to register the business based on what you have researched and read about. But it also, I would not want to say you eliminate the professionals. It's always good to speak with a professional on how to register the business, whether it be a business consultant such as myself or a lawyer. And that lawyer will guide you, or business consultant will guide you as to how to set up the business that will make you be the most efficient of whatever you're doing. Because there are, let's just say you want to go into tourism, Because even the case of Miss Brown, she could apply, she could register the business and apply for certain grants if she was saying to the regulatory authorities that I am supplying and I am doing a part, I'm a part of the tourism sector. So I am supplying my chickens to the tourist hotels. She could apply for certain grants and certain waivers. So if you're supplying certain services to the hotel industry, or you come register under or providing some service to tourists and stuff like that, there are ways for you to go around and apply for certain grants and waivers. So that's why it's always important for you to speak with the experts. The experts can guide you as to what business structure is good for your type of business, and how can you register to pay your efficient level of tax and other implications that you may have. But I don't want to steal the thunder of next week, but next week we'll be discussing some of those structures and what is best.
All right. So I guess this is the end of our first class. So we just want to thank our lecturer, Mr. Semester, for giving us some of, well, I would say his knowledge he has imparted on us. We want to thank even Bishop for allowing him to come and lecture to us tonight. And I'm sure a lot of us have learned a lot of information, and there are other lessons to take in as well. So we thank you again, Mr. Semester, and we're looking forward to the following 5 more weeks. I'm sure everyone is on board. So we're just gonna close out in prayer. You were saying something, sir?
No, I'm saying that we look for the next 5 weeks, and we're gonna have a lot of businesses coming out of it, and a lot of enrichment, a lot of empowerment coming out of it.
Right, I'm supposing the 117 or 16 that we're on will be business persons after this.
Amen. Yes.
Amen. All right, we just want to close out in prayer just now. So Father, we come before you tonight. We just want to give you thanks for our apostle and his first family, for having our lecturer, Mr. Semester, to come and impart his knowledge upon us. Thank you. We thank you, Father, for just continue to watching over this lecturer. We ask you for coverage for each and every one of us online, and that everyone will have taken or learned some valuable lessons that have been taught tonight. We thank you, we glorify you, we honor you. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen.